Hey everyone, and welcome back. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Q4 KDP niches for 2022. And it's one of the biggest times of the year for selling books on Amazon. And we're going to be looking at the two main niches in a little bit of detail. And then I'm going to look at two niche ideas that you may not have thought of. And we're going to start by looking at a simple way using a free plugin to find those potentially underserved or untapped niches for Q4. Now, if you've not been to this channel before, then welcome. My name's Paul Marles and I do videos on how to make it, keep it and grow it. And that's your money I'm talking about. If you do like videos like that, then please do give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and smash that notification bell. So the place that I normally start is with a celebrations list. Now you can find these just by Googling, but I've got this list here from this website, childhood101.com, and it gives us a list of all these events throughout the year. And we're interested in Q4, which is October, November and December. Now, the way I normally approach this is along the lines of gift giving, because during these celebrations, holidays, it's people buying gifts that contribute to the most amount of book sales. So what I do is look at each of these different events and I think along the lines of buying a gift for kids. So something like puzzle books or activity books. And I ask myself, okay, would people buy puzzle books during this time? So let's take October the 1st, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Do I think people are buying Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta puzzle books for their kids? The answer to that is no, or highly unlikely anyway. Now you'll find that with a lot of these dates, they're not particularly good for books, but they may be good for things like merch. That's t-shirts, hoodies, phone cases, pop sockets, that type of thing, but not particularly for books. So if we go down this list and have a look at something like Divali. Now I know this is a period of time of big celebrations, but I'm not sure if people buy gifts during this time. So what I do is go along to Amazon, put in Divali puzzle book, 239 results, and straight away, the first book that appears here has 160 reviews. Now we can look at the bestsellers rank, which is high, and this doesn't give us a good indication when we're investigating these events niches ahead of time, because people may not have yet started buying these types of books. But if we look at the number of reviews, this book's got 160 reviews over the last, 2 years? Or actually that looks more like 3 years. So I note for my books that I get about one review for every 30 sales. So we could say that this book may have sold between 4,500 to 5,000 books, and selling at $9.99, the profit per book would be around that $2.50 to $3 mark. So this one book alone may have made the publisher around $10 to $15 over those few years, which is pretty good. But I want to have a look at this in a little bit more depth. So we go to this book. Now, I've got a free plugin installed. It's the Helium 10 plugin, which you can download for free. I'll leave a link to Helium 10 down below in the description, or you can just Google Helium 10 free plugin. And so what I do is open up this plugin, hit the X-Ray Amazon product research box and look at the sales graph. And we can see here the pattern of sales for all time. And we can see that from about early September onwards, the sales increase and we get to around, it says here, 89 book sales per day, and then tails off towards the beginning of December. And the same occurred last year. So this looks very promising. We know that this book has made sales. So let's have a look at some of the other books on the listing. Now, it doesn't look like many of these have actually made sales, but what does look strange is that a lot of these book covers look very similar, almost designed by the same person, and they don't look brilliant. So you could say, okay, well, there is a book here that is selling well during this period of time. I may be able to produce a better book cover design and hopefully get some sales. Now, I don't know if this book runs ads each year, no idea. But you can also think along the lines of, well, compared to, say, a non-fiction or fiction book, these books don't take a huge amount of time to create and don't require a big investment of money. So it may be something you want to take a bit of a gamble on. But also, Divali activity books, is there a market for colouring books, other types of puzzle books in this niche? So going back to our celebrations list towards the end of November, we've got Thanksgiving. Now, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if this is a big gift giving time for kids. I do know families sit around and have these big meals, as I've seen on the TV. But we could take the same approach. Go to Amazon, put in Thanksgiving puzzle book, 501 results. And straight away, again, at the top of the list, we've got this book here with a lot of reviews. And this was published in 2018. If we scroll down here, we've got these other books. Thanksgiving word search puzzle book, not many sales. Again, doesn't look like there's many sales in all these other books, so we're not getting a great idea from this. We do have a lot of autumn word search books though, which is interesting, and I'll write that down on a piece of paper to investigate at another time. So what I'll do is take that Thanksgiving book and go through the same process. Helium 10 plugin, click on X-ray research, look at sales graph, and again we've got a similar pattern. And from early September onwards, it looks like sales for this book slowly increased to around about the 80 to 90 a day. And same for last year, slightly less sales than the year before, but that looks very promising. We've got a decent number of sales over a 2 to 3 month period starting around now. So in the same way as the Divali books, you may want to look at this, maybe want to give it a go, or go down the rabbit hole and look where there is a market for other Thanksgiving type puzzle books. Now, if you are wondering what other types of puzzle books you could create, I recently did a video on my top 19 KDP puzzle book niche picks, which I'll leave a link to down below in the description. It's worth checking out. Now, what did interest me there was the autumn word search book. So put that into the Amazon search bar, 258 results, so not too many. However, we've got a lot of books here. Now, have these got reviews indicating sales? Again, the bestsellers rank in this case wouldn't be a good predictor. And we've got these here. Yeah, they've got reviews, so they are making sales. Let's go down a bit further. These ones are running ads. Again, making sales. These ones making sales. So this could be a potentially good niche. And you see what we've done. We started at Thanksgiving. We've gone down the rabbit hole, and now we're looking at something, the autumn word search again, which would be a Q4 niche. So I picked one of these books that has got quite a few reviews, again selling around the same number of books, that 4,500 to 5,000 mark, and was only published last year. Let's have a look on Helium 10. And the sales graph looks very good. So again, from around the beginning of September, sales of these books slowly increase up to around 77 a day, and then tail off towards the mid-end of December. So that's a nice big period of time for sales. And again, worthwhile looking at potentially other types of puzzle books in this niche. So there's 3 for you straight away: Divali, Thanksgiving, and autumn word search books. But you can use that celebrations list and go through a similar sort of process for these other dates. So we come on to the 2 big niches for this period of time. And the first one is Halloween, and that will be for Halloween themed books. And we've got puzzle books, activity books, coloring books. Again, I did that video recently on those top 19 puzzle book niches if you're struggling to think of ideas. And these sell very well. It is competitive, so you may want to look at those less competitive sub-niches within this overall Halloween themed niche. What I would avoid doing is just creating those Halloween plain blind notebooks, unless you can come up with something probably humorous and very unique. The problem is this time of year, there's lots of those type of books listed on Amazon. It'd be very difficult to get your just basic line journal or notebook seen. Then we come on to Christmas, and this is a big gift giving time, not just for kids, but also adults. So again, with kids, you've got the Christmas themed types of books, and you've also got the normal type puzzle books, coloring books, and activity books. So you've got 2 lots there, the Christmas themed ones and the non-Christmas themed ones. Again, there's going to be competition. So in a similar method that I showed you just now on those untapped niches, or finding those untapped niches, you could apply that similar method. And in fact, I'm going to do a video in a couple of weeks on the whole process of finding those untapped and underserved niches, which will be worth checking out. Also, it's a good time for adult gifts as well. So adults buy colouring books. Adult colouring books are insanely popular. Again, you want to find those underserved or untapped sub-niches within that overall niche. But also think about things like diaries, planners, and books centered around humor, because some of these diaries and planners, you could think up something unique as a humorous cover. Again, the plain line notebooks, journals would be very competitive. I do have some that I listed back in 2018, which do sell a few every single year. So they are worth looking at, but again, very competitive. So now let's have a look at a couple of ideas you may not have thought of. And one is the back to school niche. If we look on Google Trends, we can see that towards the end of December, which is still in Q4, people start to search and think about back to school. And so from around mid-December, you may find books within this niche start to sell. So you've got things like gifts for teachers and coaches. I've got about 300 sports related books aimed at coaches. Again, sell very well during that December period. But also think of books that school pupils will buy, those going back to university and college. So you've got things like the Cornell notebooks, the composition notebooks, and the graph paper notebooks. They sell very well this time of year, because this time of year is the back to school period of time, but also mid to end of December as well, and which will take you through to January. But now is the time, if you're thinking of starting to create those books, create them now, get them in the market so that some sales can start to trickle in. You get a bit of sales history, and hopefully some of those may take off towards the end of December time. And then also at the end of December, we've got New Year. Now you may think, well, people might not be buying gifts for kids and adults during New Year, but I want to think about this. And that is, it's a big time for New Year resolutions. People want to get their life organized in order, want to go to the gym, build muscle, lose weight, get fit, make money. So one of the areas I like are planners, particularly centered around fitness, diet, and productivity. So again, that's a broad niche, something to research and think about, and again, start to create books now in order to get them in the market for that period of time. So as I said earlier, don't just throw up a line notebook with a Christmas picture on it or a Halloween picture on it and expect it to sell. I think you'd have a very hard time getting sales. Now, if you are keen on those puzzle books and are wondering about those puzzle book niches, then here is that video where I go through the top 19 KDP puzzle book niches, or what I think are the top 19 niches. I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much for your time. It is very much appreciated. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and until next time, goodbye.